Where to begin?
With this one I'm trying to hold.
Forever hang.
The stuff that I got in my soul.
So many things
I gotta say so many things.
Where to begin?
With this one I'm trying to hold.
Forever hang.
The stuff that I got in my soul.
So many things
I gotta say so many things. So let them flow cause I'm science made.
Wondering whether anybody will talk to me. Maybe I'm inside a tragedy. Baby, can it be? There's nothing left to see. There's blemishes of you and me, but we look ahead at futurity. We both forgot a little melody that'll never cease. That's all that I believe. Oh yeah, but on this pose,
do I have to hide every feeling? Does it have to be?
but I can't help but show
These thoughts we share when I go. You miss me, that I know.
So when you say
That the answer's only in our minds, I say that's something to find.
we all get there,
Confusion and everybody. What?
So now and every single day, now or never, I'm remembering now or never many memories. Haven't we countlessly created them since we began? Now or never, you can close your eyes. Now or never, you can ask me twice. Just believe our destiny is right in our head.
Follow me. Yeah. What's the deal, y'all? Yeah. Lucky you can see Hiltonia, Mark, and ready on beat. It's all for you. Talking to you listeners like Curtis. I'm the kind of artistic Astro boy. Astro girl got everyone through the world. Expo. When you're next, you'll catch the future. If I'm telling you, let's go. Speaking deep dope, 9 and 9 been so long. We see flow, we're writing out a history. So kiss me, you won't find a lovely or cooler MC. Rolling up fashionably later, make a secret land another way to my data. Check in and my flight of sense, cause the party won't be starting if we never attend. Come on, who's with you? It's me, baby, why you gotta hit the streets?
Why don't you tell me,
Hey, what's on your mind? You say that the two of us can never rewind.
you'd explain.
Why you still change your mind? Every moment is a mystery.
Can take no more, honey.
More problems, more worries, no more.
Come on. Now or never, every memory. Now or never is infinity. Down inside, you and I. So let's return where we began. Now or never, we can cut across. Now or never, all the time we lost. Just believe our destiny is right in our hands. Hey, can't you see? You can't drown in our needs. We cannot go back to the time that passed. We can't undo our crying. Where to begin?
With this one I'm trying to hold.
Forever hang.
The stuff that I got in my soul.
Many things
I gotta say
so
many things. So let them flow cause I'm science made.
Where to begin?
With this one I'm trying to hold.
Forever hang.
The stuff that I got in my soul.
Hear from me.
March
I gotta say.
let it show.
Oh shoot, I didn't.
Woo! Hiltonium, Margaretti. Yo, you know what I'm saying? It's a global Astro Alliance. And we gon' take it on like this. Check it out. Watch me do this. Kinda like
I totally forgot to start the call before I went live.
just go ha ha. Who's that lady? That means you say whoa, 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 whoa. Follow me. Just say whoa, whoa.
How are you, Fuzzy?
Watch me do this. Kinda like ha 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 ha. Follow me.
Not bad, honestly.
Just go ha ha.
I've had kind of a
That means you say whoa, whoa, whoa. Follow me. Just say
emotionally all over the place kind of day, but not bad. I want to clarify that. I just had like this morning, like I got up, everything was pretty normal, and then after about like an hour and a half, I just got hit with like a huge like wave of brain fog, which then like essentially like triggered like a spike in like depression on top of that. So like I lost hours.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I call it a cascade.
Yeah, I mean it is a sort of a cascading effect. But yeah, I lost some hours, and and then technically after it cleared up, I then continued to feel just kind of like crappy because I lost hours. But otherwise, I mean, I have been trying very hard to focus on the things that I have managed to get done today.
That's good.
Um,
Oh man,
yeah,
this is gonna be great. Can't wait to
I
try
have
this.
uh,
Oh wait.
moved around and organized some stuff here in the apartment that has not been touched since the day I moved in.
Oh, okay.
Um, I did laundry. I have cooked and I've cleaned, and I also uh, just like 20 minutes ago finished up all of the like last detailing that I needed for the map for tomorrow's session.
That's good.
And I've already uploaded it to Roll20 and everything. So biggity boop. Yeah.
Well,
Uh,
um, hopefully we can get this token done tonight. For okay, this tavern ambience is like a bit too noisy. It's like it actually feels like I'm just in a noisy restaurant, which it would be good for a like a D&D game, but like for an actual stream, like no, just
maybe a bit much, yeah. Need to turn it down
beach.
just a smidgen.
Okay, I think these are like actual like ambient sounds, not like the music.
Well, that can be very relaxing, though. Actually, speaking of background music, um, and I don't know how this would like fly with like say Twitch's um uh, uh content ID flagging system and all that sort of stuff, but when I was writing down some stuff a couple of days ago for the Darkland elves, and just kind of like what their culture and everything is down in Vault Chamomile, if the party should at some point actually go all the way down to Vault Chamomile and stuff happens down there. Which I'm not, to be clear, at this very moment, I am not like specifically planning on, but I had some ideas for it. And I want to make sure to write it down. So should the party just go to Vault Chamomile at some point, I've got at least some sort of like basis to work with.
That's good.
And well, can you just as a shot in the dark, and I'll go ahead and tell you it counts as it's a first person shooter. But can you guess which video game I am taking some aesthetic choices for? Just give a wild guess for underground elves. Where do you think I'm pulling from?
First person shooter, huh?
Mm-hmm.
I know it. I know there's like something that's coming out of my mind, but I can't think of what it is specifically.
It is. I mean, it is. No, I guess it doesn't count as a modern game anymore. Fuck. When did this game come out? Let me check it real quick. When did this game come out? This game came out in 2013. So, yeah.
Gosh, I hate to like admit that, like, oh, 2013, that was like a couple years ago. Like, no, it's over a decade ago now, and it's just like,
yeah, it's now literally over a decade. Yeah. But BioShock Infinite.
okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Yes, and obviously not floating city in the sky aspect or anything, but more the anachronistic things were in Bioshock Infinite. Uh, like they had those like music covers that were done by, that were supposed to be done by like artists, being performed by artists and with instruments and whatnot in the that would have been available in the like 1910s,
Era.
1920s, and that would have been available, but didn't actually get produced until like the 1980s. So they're like covers of like 80s songs. And I was thinking that it would be it would be kind of funny if you guys went down to like Vault Cameo and you find a tavern or whatnot to put your feet up as you've gotten finally down into the no longer wild cavern system. You're actually in like a piece of civilization down there. And there is like live music that's being performed, and it is like the bardcore versions of like old 80s songs.
Oh yeah. No, like bardcore, 100%. As far as I know, as far as I'm aware, because the Elf has used bardcore covers on their streams.
Well, if that is the case, I've got a mix that I have on YouTube. So should we ever go down there, I've got a link to some background music. There's no vocals, so we don't have to worry about that. It's just bardcore.
Yeah, I think the no vocals thing, that's gonna be your best friend when it comes to that.
So I mean, it's very clearly bardcore, but it's also clear enough to like understand like which song it's supposed to be. But yeah, I thought that would be an interesting sort of like thing, because their culture is has a lot of like anachronistic things going on in it. Some of that will become apparent in tomorrow's session, because there's some stuff that you guys will be able to find that will definitely hint in that direction. And if it ends up actually being a strong enough hint, and I'm not trying to like aim you guys in that direction because I'm not planning on it, but if somebody just like finds that little kernel of world building interesting enough to like, hey, let's fucking go down there and actually see the real thing, I think it'll be a fun, interesting switch up, sort of like an interesting switch up, kind of in genre, essentially, of game that we're playing for the brief time that you guys go down into Vault Cameo or whatever.
Yeah.
So that would be very neat. Also, this isn't really a spoiler or anything, but is relevant to what you're doing now. So the serpent folk are not allowed in Vault Cameo. They are persona non grata down there. The elves don't want to put up with their bullshit, and the elves are more than powerful enough and numerous enough to force the snake folk to actually like obey that. Umber, however, personally is allowed into Vault Cameo, so she can just waltz right in with like no problems.
Really?
So long as she doesn't like start fucking, and then at which point she'd have to deal with the overwhelming number of elves. But yeah, she is allowed to go into Vault Cameo. Like, she has a agreement with them herself personally. The serpent people don't.
Interesting. And speaking of Umber, how are you liking the token so far?
Oh, I love it. You have managed really to like to capture her form and that quick pass that I did on her potential, um, her armor like set essentially. Uh, you've also really like managed to nail all of the key features on that. So like, I'm liking it. I really am.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, I think you mentioned that with McLeach too. That that I like you did your like quick pass. Like to be like hey, this is the NPC we're gonna be running into, yada yada, and then just me being the absolute insane person that I am, being like I'm gonna make a token out of it, and doing that, and you're like wow, you really captured the what word did you just use?
And well, I mean, you really did capture like the vibe and the feel.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you managed to like capture the especially with McLeach's, you were able to like really grab hold of those little breadcrumbs that I put down, and we're able to like slap it together and make it look good. And you're doing the same thing here with Umber. So you have really done an extraordinarily good job with all of these tokens, and it continues to be impressive as you know go through and knock these out and everything.
Well, I that makes me happy to hear, because like I said, I'm not doing these for me or like my own personal agenda. I'm just more like this is for our group and you to like make things a bit more I guess not personal, but like, well, what's the right word for it? um just more tactile, I guess, because I think the the one time that Umber did technically show up, like that June like kind of like stuck her head through that hole. You just had like a generic Gorgon or like Medusa picture, right?
Yeah. And on top of that, I was running a bit behind, so I just had to like find something that really pointed in that direction, and make a real quick like crop, of the face torso area, and just slap that in there as a placeholder for her until I had better art, because I was still very early on in her sort of like design process, which is at this point really starting to come together, but at the time was very like slapdash. So as we approach the high potential of her second appearance, live on the battlefield, uh, I'm really looking forward to yet again being able to pull out one of these like miniatures that you have so graciously put together. So as I have said before, I really really appreciate what you are doing, just simply because you are doing it, but also you're doing a really fucking good job on top of that. So like, it's always a great thing.
Mm-hmm. Well, I am excited to see. I get sounds a little bad. I'm excited to see McLeach hopefully for the next session. If Umber does show up, that would be a good bonus too. But I guess I'm trying to say is like no need to rush, to get to Umber just because I got the token. Like when
yeah,
when she arrives, I imagine she's going to make a grand entrance.
I mean, I would want her to, quite frankly. And I also do want McLeach, some room, essentially, for him to breathe as a threat to the party.
Mhm.
So like tomorrow before the game, some last minute sort of prep stuff
Mhm.
that I am going to do is I'm going to take the encounter essentially that I already built. The first encounter I started with for this whole section was the boss encounter. So when you guys like actually are facing off with Big Leech,
Mhm.
what's on his side. And I want to take a hard look at it, um, because, quite frankly, um, when we had our previous encounter, um, that encounter with the those serpent folk,
Mhm.
uh, that was a um, like it was a weak encounter,
Mhm.
as far as like what it was supposed to be. Essentially, it was supposed to be like a fucking speed bump sort of encounter, and it ended up like I ended up kicking you guys in the teeth,
Mm.
which let me tell you,
Mhm.
fun. But it was supposed to be a low threat um,
I think it just was the dice.
encounter. Oh yeah, yeah, it was massively the dice. I
Mhm.
and I
Yeah.
was looking over it because it felt off. And as things were playing out, I even deleted an entire dude out of that combat just right off the bat because I was like, oh shit! Like suddenly, these guys were swinging so hard at y'all and it took a while for the ball to get rolling on the
Mm.
PC side. Um,
I've done that
that
before.
I just deleted the dude who hadn't revealed himself. I just deleted him off of the. It's like you're just not there. And then I moved I moved his available gear and stuff like over to other people so that you
Mhm.
guys could still get the loot that I planned to be there. But I just didn't want another like hit point sponge to be sitting over in some dark corner just like peppering you guys with arrows and whatnot. Um, and funny enough, uh, that on the in the Halfless Discord,
Mhm.
um, when I asked about like how many hit points do you guys have at max, um, and I always love the reactions that I get from that for those questions. Um, the reason that I asked that is I was looking at uh, I was looking at some hazards, because
Mhm.
like the thing with the snake folk is you guys have actually like murdered a considerable number of their population. Like there's not a lot of them. Like these aren't numerous guys. They get by on subterfuge, of which they're honestly, legitimately not extremely good at. uh, but they do get by on like and poison. Like that's their bread and butter.
Mhm.
The whole like venomous snakes thing. Um, so I was looking at like some hazards which had poisons on them, and I was going over the rules to make sure that I was, confirming how poisons work in Pathfinder Second Edition. And I was looking at this one poison that is like on a trap that is like real fucking low on the like totem pole for fourth level characters.
Mhm.
Um, that like again on paper, sounds like it should be a like cakewalk kind of thing. And frankly, if you make the save, yeah, it is. It's a nothing burger. But if you fail that save, and if you fail it for the next two stages or whatever,
Mhm.
course of like 3 or 4 rounds, um, so if you just simply had a bad set of rolls, essentially,
Mhm.
uh, you are looking at a potential of up to points of damage from this thing,
Ow.
which is, yeah, like that's a lot of hit points. Uh, so, and I knew that I knew that at least one person, I could confirm just off the top of my head that at least one person had 42 hit points at max. But I was pretty sure everyone else didn't. So, but that was why I threw that up there with like, hey, how many hit points you guys got? Um, so that that trap, that hazard, is still there. I just downgraded the poison.
And that honestly is like that is a sign that you are a good DM, because you're not, I guess, like God, I have a really hard time putting my brain thoughts into words, but you are looking ahead. You are seeing that, hey, this medium difficulty or CR or whatever trap for a level 4 party would still pretty much like knock us out. And instead of changing it or I mean deleting it, instead of deleting it, you just slightly alter it, to keep it like still in theme, I guess. And it just shows that you're taking that extra thought into it.
Well, part of it, obviously, of course, is my experience that I have with running various games. And, rule 0 continues to be have fun, and it is part of my job as the GM to make sure that we have fun. So that means I need to look out for things that can be fun ruiners. So, like, while I think it would be thematic and potentially very good, like, storytelling for, somebody to, like, catch a trap with a bad roll, and, the party has to, like, scramble to keep somebody alive. While I think that could be, and not only that, could that be, like, good storytelling and whatnot, and really hammer home, like, hey, these guys are dangerous. It could even, depending on how things go, it could even potentially be hilarious. There is, in my experience, there is a much higher chance of that being just simply unsatisfying.
Yeah.
And
or just really taking the wind out of everybody's sails.
Yeah, it could really take the wind out of everybody's sails. And in addition, let's say that, like, the party actually loses a character. Maybe the character's not dead, but but mathematically speaking, that character is down and out for the count. That means the party is down by a person, which means all of those encounters, if I do not then immediately change all of those encounters going down that haven't happened yet, suddenly that, like, low threat becomes a high threat, because Pathfinder has what is frequently referred to in the community as a very quote-unquote tight math, and if you tinker with it too much in one direction or the other, it can suddenly snowball. So, like, that would be the thing, is that, like, while there's the potential of, like, some good storytelling and possibly some, like, comedy and all that, if it happened and, like, let's I'm not going to do this, but let's just say there was a random patrol, like, snake folk or whatever, coming around the corner, and catches up with one character already out of the picture, these speed bump guards, they become deadly at that point. And I would then be put on the back foot because I would have to readjust every single encounter on the fly to adjust for this new paradigm in player composition. So while one of the benefits of the type math is that that's not actually very hard, mentally speaking, that is a shitload for me to like keep track of, even over just a couple of encounters.
Yeah, and it adds pressure, it adds like stress.
Yeah, it turns the whole thing on its head, and I don't want that to happen. I've had that happen to me before, and there's been a couple of times where I've been able to wrestle it back down. There's been a couple of times where I've been able to I've been able to reach down and grab my players and to pull them out of the jaws of defeat that I specifically set there to bite them in the first place. But have to turn around and like pull them out of it just because things are about to go south in a way that is not cool, so I don't want to have to on one hand, I don't want to have to do that work. I would rather have I would much rather, as the player who is on this side of the GM screen, I would much rather have fun by playing a bunch of different bit part roles and being able to ham it up as a over the top villain and threaten you guys, but like ultimately not like bully you and beat the crap out of your characters, which can rapidly start to feel like I'm bullying
Picking
you
on, yeah.
play. So like that becomes the thing where I have to be extraordinarily careful with how I fiddle with it. And while I'm willing to play with it, and I can make the deleting that guy out of that combat just because I saw how the dice were. While I can do it, it's just one of those things that like I'd rather not have to if I don't. Like that makes it more fun for me, and ultimately makes that more fun for you guys. So yeah, that's kind of been my like guiding philosophy for several years. Is try to maximize fun for myself as well as the players, because normally if I'm having a good time, it means that you guys are going to have a good time. Doesn't always work, but most of the time it does. And usually, if we keep things relatively simple on both the GM side and the player side, then it's a lot less mental work, And there are certainly players, again on either side of the screen, who like that. Like that is how they have a lot of fun, is just by crunching numbers and min-maxing and engaging with every little subsystem and all that sort of stuff to the like absolute maximum capacity. And there are days when I am that kind of person, but there are also days when I'm not. And it's not like I can, especially in an online situation, it's not like I can poll all of y'all like at the beginning of every session to be like, hey, how much, mental and emotional like battery do you have at the moment to give to this game? Like I'm asking you, the player, how many hit points do you currently have before I even start like chipping them away from your character? So again, it's just one of those things where kind of I have to kind of play it by ear, and I've looked at things and I saw potential downsides. So I was like, I'm just gonna ratchet this down, because I feel like the potential of like if the dice just aren't on the player's side, then this suddenly becomes like really bad. So as opposed to it being one of those like, if you succeed, it feels like heroic because you managed to like tell this, virulent poison or whatever. Not today. But if you don't manage to tell it not today, then we suddenly have a whole problem for the whole rest of the entire game. So I figured I would just dial that back a little bit.
I understand, and I get what you're saying. There are some people that, their D&D experience is literally just crunching numbers and making the most min-maxed character and having a DM that just sends them to a meat grinder and seeing how far they go. And I think that was kind of more like Gary Gygax's style, or maybe that's just more I think that was more the era that they were gaming in more than anything. But
it was, I would agree. I would say it was more era, but it became a thing that like Gygax and a lot of contemporary DMs at the time were known for. Because like and because it's not like back in first edition and AD&D second edition or anything like that, people didn't get characters. But it's a lot more obvious these days. It's a lot more intense, than it used to be. Because like I've made the joke before that like I, originally created Demoni in second edition, and then I lost her character sheet before our first game, so I had to make a replacement character like on the fly. I don't remember anything about that character at all, and that character died.
Really?
Yeah, and I don't care, at all. Like I don't remember anything about that character. There's nothing that stood out. And there was not so not that character, but then like the next character after that was a I want to say it was a dwarf cleric, I think. But that's all that I vaguely remember. And I played him for 6 months, I think, roughly speaking, and then he died. So I did like the most, D&D player thing of all time, and just like brought in his twin brother Bob that he never told anybody about. So so that happened, and then like after that happened, see, and the thing is that like Bob, the twin brother, he only lasted for I think like 3 or 4 more sessions, and because of Bob, the DM, and this is before I had started co-DMing myself, so this is technically before my DM debut. But the DM that we had at the time, he decided that if people brought in if people lost a character due to character death and then brought in a new character, they had to bring in a new first level, regardless of where the rest of the party was. And we had it was with the idea that like especially with as lethal as the games were getting, and the fact that like
Works if
once
you're
we
using
got
XP?
past like well, yeah, we were using XP, and there was also the fact that like our campaigns very rarely got past like 6th or 7th, either because the difficulty either just ramped up very sharply. The curves, the difficulty curves back in the day were steep, but it was either that or ourselves, because people would start getting into that whole like, "Is this badass? Oh yeah, well my character's this badass, more badass than you," and then like the PvP gloves would come off. But so the idea was everybody would get whittled down, so we'd all have like low characters again, which is why he instituted that rule, and which is all good and everything, but like I figured out a way to absolutely break that ruling of his.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say about a year later, just before we switched over to third edition. So this would have been very late 1999. Our second edition characters were about 8th level. We had actually managed to like coast that far, like breaking down, but like the PvP gloves had come a couple times. People had swung blows, but thankfully nobody had like actually like killed anybody else yet. But it was coming, and we could all, especially from the two players who were both playing like wizards, and they were getting like real like into pissing contests of who had the most badass area of effect, death dealing abilities. And so I lost a character, which means I had to bring in a new character. And I knew that okay, these guys are like 8th level. I'm going to come in at first. They're going to treat my new character like I'm, a friggin' servant. Like they would have no reason whatsoever to like treat me as an equal, because I clearly would not be an equal.
Yeah.
So what I did was I made a halfling rogue, and after I got introduced like in person to the to most of the rest of the party, we're in what passed as our base at the time, and one of the wizard characters, he was played by my friend Mike, and one of the other players and myself, our characters were all like talking with each other, introducing my new guy, and they were like, "Okay, like burglar buddy, and you just do what we say, and we'll try to keep you alive," kind of like thing. So my character, being a halfling, was like, "Yeah, sure, sounds like a fair trade," and whatnot. And they just talk, and I pull out a little. I open up my spare like notebook paper, and I just write a little note down on the paper, and I tear that off and I pass that to the DM, and they're continuing to talk, and they're doing all this in character. They're character, conversation thing about like what's going on. They're not paying any attention to me whatsoever, because I'm a first level character and I'm a halfling, and the player, I'm just sitting there, not saying anything. I'm just watching them, like I'm paying attention to their conversation, which I sort of am, but like I was acting at the table so that they would see me as a person sitting across from them, paying attention to what they're saying, as opposed to like me like leaning over to the DM and like whispering back and forth and that sort of stuff, because that would get them suspicious.
Yeah.
I didn't want them to be suspicious. So what my character did while they were having an animated in-character discussion with each other is I stole the wizard's spell book. And like because it wasn't even on him, like it was literally on the table.
Well, that was their first mistake.
Yeah, so it was just right there, and so like I stole it, and I walk out of the place. Since they're not like paying any attention to me, I walk out of the place. I do a lap around the like community, and then I come back, and like I put the book back, So, like I haven't like purloined the book or anything like that. But the way that the XP system in second edition worked uh, was you needed different amounts of XP depending on what class and race you were in order to level up. And the way that you could get XP was different for every single class. And for rogues, you got 2 points of XP for every GP worth of value of an item that you stole. You didn't actually have to sell it. Like you didn't actually have to get the gold in value for it. You just had to steal something. If it was, 1 gold, then you got 2 XP, that kind of thing. Well, wizard spell books were back then a base 1,000 gold, and then with an additional 100 each spell with every, that was multiplied by level of spell. So, and we all knew what spells the wizard had in his spell book, and the like overall cost, or the overall market value, such as it were, of this specific wizard's spell book was like 15.
Wow.
So I just got 30,000 XP in like one go. And so like I do that, and then like, overnight, the end of the day happens, party goes to, nobody knows that I took the book. Like everybody is completely unaware of stole the book because I put it right back. But like the next day, or our characters, our characters rest, and then like the next day, I'm looking, we're getting started. I look over at the DM and I'm like, "Hey, since we've rested and everything, that means like," and he's like, "Yeah, sure, you can go ahead and level." And then like everyone's looking at me like, "What do you mean? We haven't even done anything yet. How's he leveling up? I thought we were, doing that whole home rule thing." And that's when I told them that I stole and got all of that. And I was like,
but then I put it back.
I'm now I am now an 8th level halfling rogue. You guys have to pay attention to me now.
Some bold strategy, Cotton.
First to 8th level in like one dice roll, and then just relying on the fact that nobody paid attention to me, because they literally saw me beneath them. So there wasn't even like them like, having to spot me or anything like that. I just walked up, grabbed it, walked away, and leveled up. So yeah, that was fun, and that one always sticks out in my mind. And then 3 or 4 months later, we retired those characters. We shifted to 3rd edition. The clock setting, or the clock for the setting, we had run these campaign, got rolled forward 1,000 years, and then that's when Demoni actually shows up. The reason I had to bring in that that halfling rogue, now that I'm really thinking about it, the reason I had to bring in that isn't actually because my character had died. Well, no, I take that back. My character did die, but that character didn't like go away. That previous character to that, was a character named Crater, and Crater was a ranger, half elf, something like that. But she ran into a vampire during downtime. Who she didn't know was a vampire at the time. And the party had killed a dragon recently, and so she was sitting on a shitload of gold and new gear and stuff, and she was feeling like, hey, we could actually do classic D&D thing and just be a party of like dragon slayers and just rake in tons of money. We'd have like one really tough combat and then just
Retire.
an absolute buttload of money. And not to mention, so the vampire, who she didn't know was a vampire, let her know about like some other dragons who were young dragons, so they wouldn't have of treasure, but they're also young dragons, meaning they wouldn't be that powerful. And he talked her into like hunting one of these guys down with him, like as support, because the rest of the party was like, we have other things to do. So essentially, she died out in the wilderness, either from dragon or from vampire, one or the other. But the vampire was also a cleric, and was a cleric to the like god of vampires. And when we rolled over to that like that 1,000-year period to move into like 3rd edition, one of the things that Nelson, or our DM, wanted to like do is he wanted to update the deities that were in the setting, to like better align with literally to better align with chart. And so he updated all of that, and Crater became Craterna. So Crater got essentially the vampire cleric dude, either directly like sacrificed her, or got her to perform some sort of act that in the name of like the vampire god, yada yada yada. And then there was a celestial event essentially that happened while that was going on, that like the mortal world is unaware of. So this thing, high level thing is going on that the mortal world isn't aware of, which kind of like in universe explanation for changing of editions. So that happens, and Crater becomes Craterna, and Craterna one of the neutral evil gods, essentially. So that character becomes the neutral evil god of corruption, because she was corrupted into like doing the stuff that she did. And then fast forward several years into playing the 3rd edition game, was when Craterna appeals to Demoni, and Demoni becomes a unholy warrior of Craterna's. So I was at one point playing a character who was a mortal agent of the divine incarnation previous character.
That's crazy.
And then of course, like further on down that line, Demoni would eventually attain her own godhood. And to put just again another really silly, stupid bow on all of this sort of thing, and to bring it back to Halflet, Torque, the original version of her, when the high-level, epic-level game actively playing Demonian had gotten to the point where we were only playing that game like once every 2 to 3 months was how often we would have a session, as the various members of the group at the time were dealing with a lot of like scheduling issues. But we had new, younger members who didn't have to deal with all of that, play lower level characters and whatnot. Well, at one point, Nelson decided to again move the timeline forward by about 1,000 years, and we just would have new characters that showed up. Well, out of that group of new characters, that's where Torque comes in.
Ah.
And because I had already was still technically playing a character that was divinely connected back to another previous character, I did not want to do that again with Torque. So Torque, part of her initial lore was that she did not like the Diamorans, which were the followers of Demoni as a god. So, like, in the current timeline that Torque, existed in, Demoni was known as Diamora. She was a god. She had her own followers, and Torque had like a bad run-in with them at some point in the past. So that was my like explanation for why I wanted to just cut that like chain. Was that like Torque didn't like Demoni or followers because she had like a bad experience with them at some point in the past. Obviously, of course, that lore does not have any bearing whatsoever anymore.
But it's just still funny to think about that you had a character be essentially a ascended godhood, and then like another character having beef with that other character's followers, and like by extension beef with them. It's like,
yeah, it was a good sort of shorthand in-universe explanation. I wasn't just creating a new character would either be a member or otherwise worship or whatever the deity version of my other
I mean, I did mention the kind of bad experience I had with my D&D group was like we literally had the store owner was like a player character, I think. I don't remember, but like for lack of just to cut to the chase, they basically their character was like a aspiring deity, and like they like literally had me and another person that was joining the game be like essentially like their servants, and like we literally had to carry their stuff, and like thank you for the save. We literally had to we would get bonuses in game for praying to their character, like an advantage or whatever. But like it was just so silly to think about in retrospect. Like I know Callie was talking about like their bad experience, like where they had essentially the group kind of coordinate together to like have their character killed and like get them out of the game like that.
It still amazes how Syrup has had just some incredibly god-awful friend experiences like that. I understand totally how it can happen. But like it's just wow. Talk about like an incredible like bad roll dice when it comes to like friend groups. Okay. I need to also work on some artwork. Let's see here. What do I want to do?
How is this looking? Let's see. I think I kind of need to just lower the opacity a bit here, but as far as like the armor or like the chainmail, or I was gonna figure out how to do the texture of it, but
well, just basic shapes and everything. It looks good. It really does. And you've got the basic detailing. I'd rather do the uneven bottom. Um, I wanted to add that for detail purposes. Um, yeah, yeah, I like it. I think it looks really good. Um, the only the only thing, and this is, I would say, optional, quite frankly,
Go ahead.
would be like putting the rings around the snakes.
Oh, you're totally right. They do have rings.
Which I do gotta admit, in the sketch that I did, they were kind of. What if they were like collars?
Collars.
Yeah, like little golden rings right behind each one of the snake, like a collar, like you would put on like a pet. That would also make it like consistent on located, or you could just put them random wherever.
I'll try the collar one, see how that looks, and you can give me your, I guess, thoughts on it. I guess, like if you like it or you want it to be more towards the middle. However you think it best goes.
Yeah, actually, let me open up the sketch I did, anyways, just so I can look at it. Yeah, because I put them a little randomly, sort of quote unquote middle of the snake. But yeah, now that I'm thinking about it, something occurs to me that might actually be. It might look better if they were like collars. I didn't do it in the initial sketch, but one thing I thought about doing was having the rings on the snakes connected with like some delicate chains. That way, they could dangle, that sort of thing. So again, it would some more kind of body around Umber's head. I don't think honestly that I'll do it, but like it crossed my mind as a thing that, like maybe when she like quote unquote dresses up, or she's like trying to like look extra impressive, there's like a like a little jewelry chain string from.
I like it, but it definitely sounds more like decorative than like anything.
Yeah. I think that would be like a decorative kind of something she would saunter out into battle with.
Yeah, because I imagine that would be quite delicate and also could potentially snag on things.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody wants their hair getting pulled in the middle of a fight.
Yeah, generally not a good thing. Okay, but I also do really need to decide what the heck I am working on.
Having a little dangling a bit with the things, but what do you think with that? He's like the general shape. Might tweak it a bit, but
yeah, I like that. I think that looks
okay. Then let me go ahead and I will fidangle with these little leashes or collars they got, and then I think it'll be good to go to color. I did want to ask you though, if you had like decided on like a color scheme or like like I know you did kind of I wouldn't say
Umber herself is actually kind of a burnt umber color. Um, as far as her like gear is concerned, I honestly, um, but she is active in an area uh, sort of tropical, um, very like jungly kind of like feel. Um, so I character design wise, to me, that makes that her gear should be colorful. Um, and honestly, the thing that comes first to my mind when I think about it, like bird of paradise, kind of like sort of coloration, like a lot of like bright um, blues with some like hints of like purple and things like that.
You know, the crazy thing is, just I think it might have just been, the colors you used for the lines, but that was kind of the vibe I was getting to a bit. Just
Yeah,
just like
because
blues and
again,
greens in there.
as I'm just looking at it, yeah, because well, one, very good contrast with Umber's colors herself, since she is a this red, orange, brownish, you know, spectrum. Um, like her colors are very warm, so I think bright but cold colors would really contrast well. Uh, Umber specifically, he does not care about like camouflage or stealth or anything like that. Anything like that. Um, I well, that Umber is the type of like when she slithers into, she demands everybody's attention. Um, and so really that to me that also bright colors, like practical, but still, like with a little bit of flashiness to it, um, so that she's just wherever she rolls into, she's just a friggin' beacon of attention of like, look at me. Um, and I suppose you could also like kind of like say that there's a little bit of that sort of like poisonous tree frog, bright colors and patterns to say I'm dangerous, kind of like thing. Uh, I would guess that there's also probably enough argument for that with her, that she's just doing it in a way of like who is going to absolutely like pummel the fuck out of you.
In a fight, right?
Um, I mean, the thing that I speaking of Umber, though, the thing that I need to remember to keep mindful of myself when it comes to role playing her in the like conversations that she has with Yoon, and also when she is actually like on the field and therefore can interact with the rest of the party, that she is a powerhouse. Um, she is she's big, physically, She is very literally tough, uh, but she also commands like powerful magics at the same time. Um, and her magic theme or like suite, whatever you want to call it, really, is not the standard that most Lamia matriarchs get, since she is a mutant in the first place. She gets a basically a slightly altered spell list, and in a way, she actually kind of acts uh, uh, like Seamus, our Magus, in the fact that she can like run magical power like through her gear and weaponry and stuff like that. So like she can put a hurt on you before you even get coil up around you. Um,
Okay.
but she wants to get close though. She wants to give you a hug. It's just something I'm trying to keep mindful for myself. But you know what? Since you're
Oh
working
shoot! I just
on
realized that
clothing,
Umber's thing had her titties out. Oh gosh.
oopsie
I was
daisy.
I was using it for color picking, and I just absentminded like, oh, I just remembered you had one picture of every color. I'm just gonna copy paste it so I can color pick, and then I.
That is the one. That's the one picture that has the titties out. Uh,
uh,
hold on. Let me send you.
yeah,
It does not
I
have.
did color pick it already, but uh, might have to delete the pod. Not sure.
I
I really don't want to risk it after the whole Twitch fiasco we had.
mean,
Um,
all right. Let's see here. Since you're working on clothing, you know what? I will work on clothing. Because it's time for Oda to get
yeah.
a gear upgrade for her halfless gear.
Let's just nobody nobody take any clips of that. I would appreciate it if we all just continue on like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Back on topic though. How do these colors look so far?
Oh yeah, these look good. Let's see here.
I just look at the viewer count. Of course, the second titties come out, and the viewer count just jumps all the way up to the double digits. That's the secret sauce.
I mean, you're not wrong. Although, for real though, I'm trying to navigate my way to. Let's see, where is what folder has Umber in it? Okay, yeah. Here's Umber's like sheet. So let's let's get rid of the let's get rid of the tatas. And then I will send you a version that has the non-tatad. The non-tatad one, so that you can effectively color pick the like 3 colors that are otherwise on. I do know that eventually there's going to be like a like brown that makes up her like scale pattern down the tail, but I have obviously not had the time to figure that aspect out, so don't concern yourself with it.
Okay.
But let me just grab a quick thing on this for Umber, and then I will send you that on Discord. I will also make a note for myself to actually get the pattern figured out, and also finish coloring her. Let's see here. Copy.
Honestly, it really is lame. Like the fact that you know, us artists have to walk on eggshells in like that literal like split second half of a like dot titty. Like it wasn't even like a full on like detailed nipple.
1/2 of a boob.
Yeah, and like just the fact that alone like had like such a strong visceral reaction, like where I'm worried that my entire channel's gonna get deleted, you know, just from that. Versus, you know, some streamers who have literally had the hanky panky on stream and gotten a 4-day ban at the most, you know. And
yeah, that's and but you know, like Twitch did catch quite a lot of flack for being extremely like both heavy-handed and lax in implementation of their new rules and their old. Like they call it a whole lot of that, and rightly so, because that was just
a shit show.
That was a shit show. It was a real shit show. Okay, let's clear this up. I want to erase that. But yeah, the other thing that I was on myself is I've actually started to put together Oda's trivia sheet, and which requires me to draw Oda, and I wanted to draw her in a like a cool pose, and have her geared up for her, you know, how she would look in Halfless and whatnot. And I like the last gear redesign that I did with her. I really do like the like scale mail baseball bat with nails in it kind of like look. I do like that. I rather do enjoy that, but I think though that she is in need of a further upgrade, to something that is more befitting of her higher level status. So that's what I'm gonna that's what I'm working on doing. And a little bit earlier today, I went ahead and bopped out a a good pose. So
Question: is this the kind of brown you were
clean that up
thinking of the underbelly?
edge.
It does look a bit harsh, I guess, but
maybe go like maybe take that color and add in a little bit more red. Like, open up the slider, click on R for red, and like just bump that up a little bit more.
oh yeah, that seems to be it. Let's see. There we go.
Yeah. Yeah, that tracks better together.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's got the like yellow green eyes and all that sort of stuff. She's a sneaky snake.
Boop.
Okay.
Damn, like I don't know. There's just something about the way it's weird to say, like, because I'm the one that drew it. Just something about the way that she looks here. It's just like intense.
I mean, like I said earlier, have done a fantastic job with all of these all of these minis, these whatchamacallits. Like, you've done a really good job, but you really managed to just you managed to capture get her vibe down real good.
I mean, I
Like,
just
it comes to extremely well.
I just went off of the little thing that you had. I like again, like she's your character. I just tried to put it a bit on the like not simplify it, but what's the word? Like just get the details or like the important details. Like I guess like obviously her snakes, they just have little dot eyes. They're not anything. They don't have like we call like the little like the little slits. Like they're not like that. Which I mean, like that doesn't look like even that little rough thing. That doesn't look too bad. But I mean, especially like on the game where it's gonna be like zoomed out all the way like there, that it's gonna be imperceptible at that point.
Yeah. I mean, you could go in and do like adjustments to those eyes and what. Yeah, it's out. You're not going to see those details, so not really good a big reason to do it. But yeah, like otherwise though, it's just like base colors for Umber as she is, when she's not rocking all of her gear. Like, it's good. I like it. And she's very monstery. I had a fun conversation with somebody a couple of days ago when I put the warm up that I did of Umber. When I made my post on Twitter with it, I shared that around a couple other like servers, and in one of the servers, somebody was asking me about like how does your junk work, and that like sort of thing, and like so I was explaining that to them, and they had a couple of questions on it, and it all rolled around to like uh, Umber is currently the queen, such as it were, of uh, the most obviously monstery of the monster girls. She is very like she's she is super duper monster coded. Um, I would really love for to end up uh, feeling like as a person. I would like for her to feel as monstery as elves are. They are, as they are the ones who are the true monsters, and they don't even get the monster girl tag.
Okay, that's what it was.
I do really like. I always I always feel very like weird about that tagging and like I'm putting down stuff. Well, technically, you know, the one of the elves that is a vampire that that gives her the to use Monster Girl tag when I put her up there.
Mm-hmm.
But like, and I can, and it's extremely easy to argue why it should be there for Demone.
Mm-hmm.
She's not even technically speaking a living creature. But the elves, all three of them, like they've got a body count that's in the thousands. They are nigh immortal and have weird, freaky powers.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly,
don't know why I just think of like a dwarf fortress where the elves are just basically like. I mean, well, in dwarf fortress, like everything's like cranked up to 11, but like of insanity. But like I think the elves like they are just like very like they either like if you they'll come and trade with you, but like if you don't like bow down to them, essentially they just straight up invade you.
uh, I, I've I've come across elves like that in some other media, but in free run, the when they first come across the demons, the way that free run describes the demons as just monsters who can talk and use essentially speech and like they do human mimicry is essentially what they're doing.
That was the what I really I guess like stood out to me, like it's not even speech, just mimicry.
Yeah,
that like they which they illustrate pretty well, like with the minor spoilers for Freerin if if anybody doesn't want that to be talked about, just but like when one of the demon gets confronted in the guy's son's room, like he like kind of tricks him to come into his house essentially, and he's like oh, this is my son's room, it's been this way, or like no, I don't even think he says that it's been this way. The demon's one that asks like this is my son's room, he died fighting demons, and I'm gonna like avenge him, and then the demon is just like I like how they just show his eyes, glancing around the room, seeing like all the details, like how pristine it is and how like upkept it is, and like he goes, and he's the one that asks like, have you been keeping up this room since he died? And the dad goes, well, of course I have, and the demon goes, well, this is the exact same way I've kept my father's room, and like that causes the guy to like stop and fall, like a flinch for a bit, and like the demon talks him down from fighting.
Essentially and it's totally false, but like he sees a glimmer of humanity uh, in them, and that's what stops him from, you know, having him and all of the guards like beat up on those demons. Which honestly, again, mild spoilers, but the like powers that they show those demons, I don't think that would have gone in his favor, even if he hadn't like
Yeah.
pulled as much.
It was more they needed him alive for a thing, but yeah.
Yeah, well, they needed him alive down the shield around town so that the demons could then come in and do what they wanted to everybody.
Yeah. But I just like the fact that like afterwards, like they've kind of like talked it out, and then the like Sidon goes like, "Hey boss, what's a father?" And he goes, "I have no fucking idea. It's
Yeah, it's just a word that they know calms people down. It's yeah, and then they again the show hammers that home like flashback of when Freeran and the original party of heroes had to deal with a village that had invited a demon because they were convinced that, you know, it could be dealt with, you know, like a person. And you know, and you know, there's that point where after like, you know, like after the shit has hit the fan, in the flashback where, you know, as the demon is like getting taken down, it's going up for, you know, its mother, and they're like, "Why do you keep saying that?" And it's like, because it's a matter. And you know, it makes them easier to hunt down.
It's a desktop Plum. Oh, hey Plum. How are
Hey,
you doing?
Plum.
It's good to see you. I am doing some token stuff. I didn't even realize the music has been off this whole time. Oh, video pause. You want to keep watching?
Having health insurance?
We have been just chatting up a storm. But yeah, that same concept, you know, that idea of they're only quote unquote pretending to be people, is kind of the way that I look at my elven characters. That they are they are the true monsters, because they not only have like wild magical abilities and whatnot, but like they have killed before many times, and it does not like require any sort of push for them to do it again if they felt the vague need to do so. So, you know, like for me, it's always like a nice like in when I'm putting together an OC, I always like to go for what they look like and how they act, and I do frequently juxtaposing like, you know, opposites on that sort of like spectrum. And Umber is not exactly, doesn't exactly follow that to a T, because she's very like outwardly a monster, you know, as she is a big snake lady, but she is also, you know, kind of like a monster on the inside, depending on your definitions. She like I don't want to say that like she's a good person deep down or anything like that, because that's highly debatable.
I honestly, as a player, I doubt it. Maybe if Cute Adventure convinces her to kind of tone down some of the
maybe.
stuff.
Maybe it could happen.
But even then, that's still going to be a long shot, in my opinion.
I like to think about it as Umber has, understandable motivations or like reasons that she has done the thing that she has done. But like, she has a kill count. She has done things. Moments of anger that maybe later on she sort of vaguely regret, but she is ready to throw down, hard at a moment's notice. And really, though, I mean, it's the like Samverse side, where that plays out a bit more firmly, because obviously on the Pathfinder D&D side of things, those characters are going to get so them needing to kill at some point, maintain their own lives, is going to be a thing that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, because like Oda specifically, my little bobbing up and down character right there on the screen, like she doesn't have really much in the way of kill count, such as it is.
Mm-hmm.
Just simply because in the 2 games that I have played Oda in, she never really got the chance to do in that particular like aspect of the game. She was relegated more to as healer and like ranged DPS support. She did tank several times, and she tanked very well, but somebody else always got the like final blow. So Oda just kind of like by the skin of her teeth, racking up a kill count relatively early on.
Mm-hmm.
But that is not the case when it comes to the elves. The elves are murder hobos by every extent of any way that you can figure that out. They are murder hobos, and obviously it's a big character thing for Demoni, that she's essentially trying to like reform herself from that, to not be a murder hobo. She understands that being a murder hobo is wrong, that she's not supposed to do that. But yeah, it is kind of funny to me that the characters that look, at least on that side of the OCs, the characters that look the most human are the most monstrous. And the characters that look the most monster are like the most people. Samantha and Calliope are just regular ass fucking humans, really, when you get down to it. They're completely normal, modern people. They have social security numbers, business emails, they pay taxes.
Damn, even I don't pay my taxes.
Side thing. Now that I'm employed again, it means for the first time in many years, I am going to actually have to pay tax. And in a weird way, I'm vaguely looking forward to it.
Yeah. Like, that's, in a way, that's good, because I'm glad that you have that, like, I was gonna say like responsibility, but like, like you have that income now,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I honestly, it's not like I am living high on the hog or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm very much not. But at the same time, if we're to like compare, compare and contrast, like now versus like say back in November, my quality of life has received a very perceptible, measurable improvement. It is still an uphill battle, but like I have had recently more victories than not when it comes to like battling my own depression and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And my stamina issues have there's been little improvement, but there's actually, which is a fine and wonderful thing. So like I'm very glad for what I have been able to accomplish, and I have what I should be able to continue to accomplish. So, it's I'm in a much better place.
Mm-hmm.
Really, is what it boils down to. Is I am in a much better, and the fact that being in this, the downside of the fact that I have to pay taxes, I really don't see that as that much of a downside at this moment. Like when it actually like hits me,
Mm-hmm.
I'll probably be a little bit more like, God damn it. but at the same time, it is a symptom of normalcy that reinforces like my sense of self that I have had to kind of wrestle back and forth with. I've spoke with you about this. My health issues have effectively kicked me out of being able to work, which then had the like knock-on effect, and it's mostly in my head, but it's not all in my head, but it had the knock-on effect of like sort of like reducing who I was as a kind of thing, as an adult. As an adult usually identifies male, that was like not just ripping the rug out from under me, that's ripping out from under me and just putting me into a free-for-all of uselessness, pointlessness, kind of thing. Like I am nothing but a burden kind of like feeling. So having a little smidgen of what it used to feel like that before that happened, before the rug pull, even though I even though I don't want to pay the tax, the fact that I can, and my circumstances have now gone back to I have to, it does make me feel better. Like it has a positive emotional benefit. I don't think it's going to be a positive financial benefit, but it will be. But it has been so far a positive emotional benefit. So I'm going to try to look at the bright side on that. Keep positive.
No, I totally get what you're saying. I mean, hell, I kind of went through a similar thing to a much lesser extent, you know, as far as like, you know, being physically unable versus like, you know, actively trying to look for employment, but like, you know, just getting stopped at the door left and right. And it's not a good feeling, you know. I definitely get that, you know, sense of not being worth that, like you're not a contributing member to society, and makes you feel like garbage.
Yeah.
And it's not a good feeling, and it really sucks that, you know, this system is honestly set up for you to kind of get stuck there. But it's not impossible to get out of it, and, you know, you've made it. I've sort of getting out of that too, you know. There's still the issue, you know, like living with my mom and the taxes and all that stuff, and now I have to give her my entire paycheck.
You are currently in the process of making it.
Yeah. And it is, there is a light at the end of the tunnel. Even if it does seem hopeless. As long as you have people that care about you and want to see you, you know, succeed, that honestly has been a major factor in keeping me going. I would genuinely appreciate every one of you all. You know, you here in the Call of Me Fuzzy, everyone in the chat. That's really been a literal lifesaver. And even though it sucks to kind of take one step forward and two step back, it seems, with this kind of thing going on right now, I know that I can push my way out of it.
And sometimes it is just that little, you know, bit of knowledge that there is an exit.
Yeah.
You know, you may not be at the exit, but there is an exit. You can get there.
I mean, there's some people that, like, you know, they have a pet. You know, that's their motivation, because they, like, whether it's like a hamster or a cat, like that, you know, like they know that somebody is at home waiting for them and depending on them. That is kind of like their drive. And it's less about you know, having a support group, because obviously that helps, but it's a mental battle as much as a physical battle, and you just need to plan your steps.
Yeah, well, that is a big part of it. But yeah, the roundabout is that, like, I'm actually honestly a little bit looking forward to paying taxes, which is funny. Honestly, I find that to be a funny thing, because that's not a, you know, position, frankly, that I have held at any point in the past. So it's kind of funny to just sort of feel that to feel that way about upcoming taxes. But yeah, you know, still a lot of positive.
Is it just me, or is this line right here like thicker than the others?
Yeah, it's a little thicker.
That's so weird. Maybe I just had the pen like a little bit harder than the rest. I mean, it's alright. It's not too distracting. Like, it kind of blends in with the rest.
Yeah. It's I don't think it's that big of a deal, really.
Yeah.
And again, zoomed out, it's not really gonna.
Yeah. Quick question though. What was this kind of like belt's color here?
Well, it's supposed to be. Well, leather is the material. With the metallic stud. So probably it's probably one of the darker colors.
And
So probably just some sort of like dark brown.
yeah, and these kind of, I guess you would call them like her bra. I don't know what the
The cups.
yeah, the cups.
Yeah, same material. So I would. They should match, quite frankly. Cups, belt
Dark brown. Okay.
should be like a dark brown, and then I'm thinking a sort of like maybe like silvery or blue for the chainmail itself.
Oh, what the? Huh? Oh, that's right. I used that to cover the rest of her titty was. Alright, so I'll just keep that in mind. Okay, so I'll just have to do it the old-fashioned way. Just.
You could set the armor lines, assuming that they're closed. You could set the armor lines as reference layer, and then
it's it's because of the like how when you're wearing the shirt, or the like kind of what you said about like how her booba would be kind of like pushed up a bit. That's like where the lines would be over here, on the left side. So like they're kind of squished inward, and I just used a color. I just used like her scale color to kind of block that off. So instead of having to like copy and paste and do the line over again, I don't know. It was just like the quickest and maybe messiest solution, but it works,
But I was just thinking though, like you could also, assuming that they were closed, you could set the armor layer as reference, and then change your fill tool to reference the reference layer.
All right. How do I set the armor as a reference layer?
Well, whatever your lines layer, the armor itself.
Yeah.
Highlight that, and then in the options above your layer palette, you'll see something that
set as reference layer.
like a chess piece.
Set as reference
and if
layer.
I
thought it was
you'll see that
lighthouse.
little it's like a lighthouse or maybe a chess piece. I think chess piece when I think about it. But that's your reference layer, and then you can go to your fill tool and go over to the settings for the for it. So like if you were to go refer to editing layer, so click on that one, and then you should
okay,
below that a thing where you just need to click it to reference the reference layer.
I get you. I'll keep that in mind. It definitely seems like something I might.
Because usually what I do with mine is I have my lines layer set as the reference, and then my fill multiple, and I've got the the symbol for the reference layer clicked on it. So it only edits the active layer, but it references the reference layer itself so that it knows stop and start.
Nothing like a hottie trying some nice stuff. Thank you, Indra. Looking gold, that Lamia? Good or gold? Either way, I think that's correct.
It's definitely a lot of gold. She do be liking her.
Yeah. Just getting the browns kind of filled in. Good. Yeah, it's alright, Max. Don't worry.
I like to think that Umber definitely sees herself as very fashionable.
Well, no, it wasn't on this design, but I think I remember you saying like she did have one piece of like, or set of armor like that had like one booba exposed with like a piercing, right?
Yeah, she one of the outfits that she has is basically like a toga that it sets one titty for
Yeah, that was when she
and she dangly bit piece of jewelry in that booba.
That was what she wore in the vision.
Yeah.
Or dream, whatever it is with June.
Yeah, when she was showing, you know, the cliff notes, the man. That's kind of like what passes as Umber's like casual clothing, or at least one version of it anyway. When she goes to battle, she is cranked up with gear.
Okay, well, looks like I've gotten most of everything. It's just the shirt or chainmail.
Yeah.
So is that going to be like it's like a silvery blue color, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like a.
Let's see.
If you go on your color picker, there's a thing where like pick color sets, and if you go to the set, there's a like indigo tinged gray, which is very metallic, silvery looking.
In the color sets?
Yeah, it's in the color sets. Because you've got yours on the color wheel. But if you go down to color sets, it's one of the tabs.
Turquoise, sky, blue, sky vivid, blue veil, ultramarine.
You know, if you look, it's up there in the grays.
The grays.
Yeah, up in the grays in the top, you'll see. Because you got like the vivid colors, human skin tone browns, and then in between them there are some grays. And grays are the tinted grays. Those are the middle ones.
Like that?
Yeah, like that. Now the real question is, though, what are you gonna do for chainmail texture?
That I... Hang on.
Because I can think of a couple of different ways that you could do it kind of easily. You could take a lighter version of that base color, of that indigo tinted gray. You could take a lighter version of that, and then either get like a halftone brush or a dot pattern brush of some, and then just wave it over that, that section of the color, and give it that sort of like, dots essentially that says that this is actually made out of little rings. I will be right back. I have to go to the...
Didn't really come out like I thought it would. Good idea, though. Good try. So... Oh, dang it, Is it a lighter or a darker version of the brush? Or not brush, the color. Actually, I think I do want to add a trim to it. Let's see.
I would use a lighter color.
Yeah.
For contrast.
Yes, let's see, this is the blue colors. Okay. Let's see how this pink looks. It does contrast, but not in the good way. What would you recommend for a trim? Or does anyone have any suggestions for a trim in the chat? For this kind of like dull blue-gray?
Maybe like a bright blue? Like a vivid blue?
Like that?
Yeah, like that.
Violet? Maybe.
Violet's a... Like a nice vibrant violet purple.
Violet purple.
Like the color of a that you have previously clicked on. I mean that is good contrast with that magenta. Yeah, it's kind of a magenta. All right. Okay.
And I did want to ask you. You said to try out the chainmail texture. I tried another effect, but that didn't work. You said to take the color of the, like this dull blue, and to lighten it or darken it.
Lighten it.
Lighten it. Okay. And then a pattern, right?
Yeah. Like if you've got a, that would probably be spectacular. Although I do believe that one of the default brushes is like a dot pattern.
Dot pattern. Let's see.
Yeah, if we go over here to the decorations brushes. Let's see here. I'm good at mine right now.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Nope.
Trying to find the default stuff. There's I don't think that one will work. Maybe. Oh no, that definitely not work. What about that? What about that? So no. Here. Wait a minute. Is it under rule? There is a under. If you go to decorations and then you click on the tab, there is a dotted line brush. And you could, with the dotted line, and you may need to play with your settings, you could then just do, you know, like streaks. I don't think you could do it.
Oh god.
You know, like brush strokes. And it would just be, you know, dot 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 dot. It would give it that feel.
Yeah, it looks like it's the dot is like tied to the brush size. So it literally would be like what the size of the brush is. Let's try to do
And the convenient thing with chainmail is that, generally speaking, the links are all the same size.
Oh, gonna need to fix that. Oh, Max wants me to put on some shades. But how does that look?
See, now that reads chainmail.
Really?
Yeah.
Maybe if I give it like a little blur or Gaussian blur, I don't know. 'Cause
Yeah, give it just hit it with the Gaussian blur, but make it like a 1 or a 2. So it's just a hint of blur.
all right, and let me go ahead and erase.
And then put on your funky fresh shade.
Yeah, these are a prop by Rigormorp. Let me actually go ahead and give them a shout out. Rigormorp. Yeah, there we go.
I saw a TikTok earlier, and it was It was something like that cake is so fantastic. I want to put myself in a wood chipper so I can get turned into toilet paper and get myself between those cheeks.
What the hell was that clip?
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, that's definitely the Chaos Crew. They sure are a crazy bunch. Alright, there we go. That should be thing. Give it a blur. A fellow skeleton? Yes, indeed, they are a Doulahan
Fuzzy
tuber.
Feather donated 10. Thank you so much.
Fuzzy. Fuzzy.
Hmm.
I saw that and heard that.
Wait, you know what? Well, that's the benefit. The fact that I can support my friends.
Thank you for the Hydra and the posture check, Maxion, and the save too. That's probably a good idea before I do this, but I'm just so. I know I'm wearing these goggles and we're drawing sneakily and all this stuff, but like, real talk, I just feel so. I feel so. I feel so guilty about asking people for help, financial support, I feel like I'm just begging for money, and like, especially you of all people, Fuzzy, you definitely are the one that should be getting the help more than me. And here you are being the one to give me help, and I just feel really bad because I want to be the one to help you more than anything, because you've been such a kind friend this past couple of years, and and I say this less because we're D&D or Pathfinder buddies and whatnot, our stream characters having some hanky-panky in canon lore. I just really am glad to have you as a friend.
Well, I'm very glad, honestly, that I can be a friend, and I'm very glad to have you as a friend. And I know that you're going through some shit, and I, at the moment, find myself in kinda, sorta, having more money than I know what to do with. I mean, I could definitely find things to do with the cash that I have, but the amount of money that is required of me in order to exist and to do things is extremely low right now. So I have the benefit of the fact that I'm making significant saving up with every paycheck that comes in. And I know that right now you're still trying to get into a stable position yourself for that. And it has been a lot of people have, reached out to help me in the past several months. So, it is an way for me to also like to pass that good fortune on, now that I have the ability to pass that good fortune on. So, you know, I mean, I get you very much on the whole, not exactly feeling comfortable with theoretical digital panhandling. But I also know very much the kind of like pressure that you are under, and I do find myself with the ability to do at least a little something about it. I'm going to do a little something about it. So, you know, it is very much no skin off my nose, and I am making sure that I remain within a comfortable level for myself that I can give, and I'm not like, you know, endangering myself.
I especially want to hammer that home for not just you but everyone else. As much as I would genuinely appreciate from the bottom of my heart any amount of support, please take care of yourself as well. Don't put yourself in your own dire straits just to help me, because that would make me feel awful. Like, be responsible with your money, that's all I say. Whether you invest it in Apple stock or put it all into your whole paycheck into your favorite streamer, you know, just spend responsibly in what you want to use it for, you know?
Yeah. If you can, you know, a couple of bucks on, say, for shits and giggles, Dogecoin. So long as you are aware of the Dogecoin never ever going to go to the moon, and that $10 is not like going to destroy you for any particular reason, then, you know, have fun with it. But yeah, I know very well that kind of like uncomfortableness, you know, that you're feeling with it. So you know, just know that I am, because I can give, because to give, but I do very much feel bad, honestly, about the position that you find yourself in.
Mm-hmm.
And since I do have some minor ability to do something about it, it makes me feel better in the soul to help do something about that.
And I genuinely appreciate it, and I'm going to use it for a good cause, you know. And I promise it's not Dogecoin. God, I still can't believe I remember Elon, like you know, it was just like, you know, like a meme, like the crypto circle, and then like Elon jumped on it, and then like it immediately tanked in value, and like for like what like little momentum it had climbed up, like the second Elon touched it, it just like burst into flames.
Oh, you know, sometimes what goes on when it comes to the muskrat is hilarious sometimes.
I still I feel bad for those people that are like Elon's gonna take us to the moon, you know, and God, that was such a weird time. Do you remember Cryptoland?
Yeah. And you know what? Like, I remember having conversations with my now ex-wife,
Mm-hmm.
several years ago about like back when Bitcoin had like hit its like all-time high, where it was like 40,000 a coin or something like that. That we were both like, hearing the news on it and all that, just thinking of the like, man, I remember when like, like both of us remembered because we were old enough at the time, about hearing about crypto at the very beginning when anybody could get in on like mining it. They hadn't even really figured out digital wallets, at the time. That was still a thing that they were like, actively like building, and it was like a nickel, like what it was, and eventually it became, like 50 plus thousand per. Which did make, did legitimately make some of those very early adopters into millionaires. And then and then here we are, like dying of sheer poverty. I'm thinking we laughed at them, at when it first came out, of like, that's goofy and stupid, that'll never catch on and take off. And we're just kicking ourselves, and of course we can't get into it at that point. Lose the farm when it crashes. Just a little while later.
June with real talk coming from herself while wearing sunglasses which say ass. But I honestly, Fuzzy, don't kick yourself down too hard. It really is, that stuff was just like sheer dumb luck, which, to be fair, sometimes that's all people need. Sometimes all people need is just sheer dumb luck, to become millionaires. But in another timeline, someone like did a bad investment and crypto never took off, or Dogecoin was the one that's like worth $50,000. We could live in a world where Dogecoin is actually the one that goes to the moon in like worth $50,000.
Is the one that's actually worth money.
It's
that would be both hilarious and tragic.
It's really just hindsight is 20/20, as they say. You can't blame yourself for really. I mean, if Bored Apes have showed us anything, is that it really was a fluke that crypto even took off, because everybody saw crypto take off and they jumped at Bored Apes, and they thought that was going to be like it was going to like turn the economy on its head or something like that. I don't know what the hell they were blowing up their asses with that, but they like there was that short-term initial like hype where everyone was buying, but like once everything like settled and like people realized like this is just a shitty JPEG of a monkey, it was like, it was nothing, it was worthless. It like, even the ones that like the super rare, whatever the heck those things were working, the really ultra rare ones that were like worth millions, now those things are worth like a couple thousand at best.
Like absolute best. You've got like maybe a couple of hundred. The vast majority of them now utterly worthless.
Like you really, the only ones that really made a profit off of Bored Apes were the ones that suckered in a whole bunch of people and sold their stuff high just before the whole thing came crumbling down like a house of cards.
Yeah.
God, I just feel bad for those people that went to that rave a couple months ago, and like they had it was a legitimate mistake
and got like ocular damage.
Yeah, because it's a legitimate mistake slash thing that, like, some cheap events do, like, where they just see neon lights, they're like, oh, this is the cheaper version, we'll just buy this one. And then like dentist lights, or like UV curing lights, and that are usually like
Grow
under
lights.
Yeah, which are usually behind like a barrier because they're that intense, and like they just have them like like they are up on the ceiling, but like they're just that strong that like it will legitimately damage your optics. And
yeah,
I just feel so bad for those people that went there, and like it was a legitimate accident, at least I hope it was, but like, God, like way to kick someone while they're down, you know?
Yeah, I know, like, for real. That is just amazingly bad. Amazingly bad luck. To get caught up in something like that, and then in the recompense window, due to someone else poor judgment and like negligence that like borders on criminal. You end up getting like freaking visual damage because they just opted on like the cheaper light for a venue.
Thank God that they had those extremely vague waivers that say are not liable for any damage or injury.
We're not liable for jack shit.
Yeah,
it says so right here in the contract that you signed. Which, this is utterly off topic, but just an interesting like thing about that. Speaking of kind of what, have you heard about the rise in no sex clauses for rentals?
What?
This is mostly in the this is mostly in the UK, but it's not limited to the UK. It does happen in the States, where there will be a clause in your lease, in your rental agreement, about not having sex, and like they can evict you if they found you were on the property that you are renting, that you're paying them money to like live at in the first place, and you bone down with somebody and they're like, then they can kick you out.
Oh, Max, you picked a really awkward time to redeem this. But that is you said it was the UK, right?
Mostly the UK.
Yeah, they are not beating the 1984 allegations.
No, they are not.
That is straight up out of 1984. That is straight up like the intimacy, whatever the heck you want to call it, is banned. Like the main character goes to the slums to hire like a street prostitute. Like that is.
Yeah, it is.
That
is wild.
Wow, that I thought it might have been something like with the like having hanky panky to and then having like a kid, which is like another person in the house, but it's just like it's just a whole like a flat ban on sex period. It's not even.
Yeah, it is such a weird call. Apparently in the state, like be illegal to put that into a like to specifically have it. You can't have sex on. as or will be, or is, or puts you into a position where you could be a victim. Like that would be illegal here in the U.S., but they get around that by having a like no overnight guest clause.
Mm-hmm.
So
you know that
that's
that can at least, you know, like they can get around it. The tenants can also get around it. Like, you know, it's like it's
yeah, but still, it is a weird thing.
Yeah,
and it's one of those things that's on the rise in the UK right now.
Yeah, not being the 1984 allegations. Heck, didn't they straight up try to literally implement the Ministry of Truth from 1984? That is...
I vaguely remember something about that, but I don't remember what the details of that specific thing were. Actually, you know, that's a good question. How do you smooch?
Oh no, I got the voice now, and I got smooch. Okay, all right. Here's the uwu smooch. There. I don't want to die.
Well, I mean, you did do it with the appropriate accent, so.
Are you happy now, Max? Are you happy I got the voice in the smooch? I have no idea what I want to do with this thing. I just... Anyway, well, I still have to talk to your voice for the next 5 minutes or how long we do this. The twim. How do you like the twim?
The twim look very good. I mean, to be fair, like it's really good contrast with the like chainmail itself, but like I'm looking at it like next to her, and it's still contrast. It still reads very well. I'm just could you zoom out? So like we're looking at this on Roll20.
Yeah. See if I do the... like that?
Yeah. Okay.
It's kind of more like a wine color.
Yeah, it is more like a wine. Yeah, I mean it okay. It still reads as trim. It separates like what is flesh and what is not. So that's good. Yeah, I mean I kind of like it. It's flashy. It meets all of those requirements. It does not clash with her natural colors. So
yeah, I think
yeah,
I think the
that's pretty
other
good.
one was just a little too white, a little too pink.
Yeah, bit too pinky.
This looks really good. I really I have these glasses on and I am talking to the voice, but I am really proud of how this token came out.
It is good. I like it.
It looks really good. I just hope that I can continue practicing my art and improving. I'm trying to talk as normal in this Uwu voice as I can, and it's really hard.
It really hard.
I sound like Daffy Duck.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, actually.
All right. Well, I think this is can't do I do the S's. I think this is done.
Yeah.
I mean, we have. Oh no, she's topless.
Yeah, she does that.
There we go. That is a unarmored, and then we have the armored. Oh, you know what? Here, I can do this. Where was it? Boop. Oh. Huh? Did not work? What am I doing wrong here? And the voice find out. Okay, hold on, let me see if I can. What did I use to trim off that thing? Oh, is it because I? Wait. What am I doing wrong here? Hold on. Why is? Okay, so it's not that. It is going past that. What was the... Wait, was it the line? I think it was on the line. No, it wasn't. Okay. Then, oop. Hang on. I'm just trying to figure out what I did to... So it is this, right? It has to be. So then why is it... Oh, I remember now. It's because I literally did it in the color. It wasn't clipped to it. So there we go. It was the simplest solution all along. There.
Sometimes that's how it works.
Alright, so now we can have... I think I'll just put them both into armor. There we go. Just grab these two folders and join them in there. And boop. We have her arm, just, cut all their pants down, essentially, if the party ends up, if it ever comes up. I highly doubt it that Umber would let them get the jump on her like that. But
it's not her usual MO.
And then we have her, like in combat, essentially how she is currently right now after, she was in the middle of, like, that campaign of hers, right? She was doing that little, help with the Kitsune Rebellion or something, right?
Yep.
And then, she was in the war room, essentially, and June called her, and she quite literally threw the table into the wall and shattered into a million pieces. She Angie, indeed. She does not like receiving the news, basically, that while she was, while she was out handling other shit, her serpent folk forces that operate in her, like, remote cells, essentially, damn it,
have gone rogue.
Why you do this, Max? Why you do this to me? I don't even know how to talk in new voice.
I mean, if you do it more. But also, I would point out that Max only has 4K points. Max can only make you do this for 20 minutes.
Well, not if we end the stream first, because we are done, and it is 2 a.m. for me, and it's 2 a.m. for you, and we have a game tomorrow.
Yep, we do.
So I will have to end it here. I'm sorry, Max. I wasn't planning to do this. To, you know, I need to figure out how to refund the points. How do I do that? Wait. No, just report. I can't refund it. I'm sorry. Was it? You all bully me. Why you bully me? I just tried to draw a snake lady. But I appreciate you all. I appreciate
quite bullyable though.
I really appreciate everybody and all your support. It means a lot. Thank you. So,
and thank you for, drawing Umber and, the other miniatures that you have done. So, I am very appreciative.
Well, I'm just glad that everybody can enjoy the game better. I want it to be good for them. It's not just, this isn't for me, not because, Umber may or may not want to wrap June in the coils in a intimate way, but because she is a important character to you and probably gonna be a important character whether or not the party wants to fight her or ally with her. It could go either way, and that's the fun of doing this, because you don't know. We weren't planning for Umber and June to be quite so friendly,
Yeah. That was a development that happened as opposed to any sort of pre-plan.
It really I really enjoy doing this, and if I can practice and improve my art, that is just a cherry on top and not a main focus,
Mm-hmm.
And I really don't want to talk in this voice anymore, so I'm going to find somebody to wait it. Let's see, we have Yoshi, we have it's really hard to talk in this voice. Yoshi, we have R2, we have Duba, we have Soiwi, we have Ogu, Hyomu, we have Pumish King, we have Dreamy Etude, we have Mayhem V2, we have Good Jared, we have Orange, we have Zone. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So let's do 10. So 1 is Yoshi, 1 is Orange. Breathe and who? I mean, talk. You so much did it to me. Alright, so 1D, not 8. 1D, 10. 8, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Mayhem, they are doing Borderlands 2. Just make sure they're still swimming. Yeah, they are. Okay. So we're gonna go ahead and wade Mayhem. So we'll do, here's the Wade message, guys. If you aren't subbed, you can use this or your own emotes, whichever you would like, or just the words if you want. And we are going to raid. There we go. Alright, guys. And I will be here tomorrow for the game with Fuzzy.
Yeah.
and Umba may not be there for a few more sessions. Who knows? Or maybe they'll pop in right at the very start. But we have a half orc to save.
Must save the torque.
We must save the torque. Alright, and I'm just gonna stop the voice now. I really appreciate you, everybody. I cannot, again, say from the bottom of my heart how much I appreciate you all. And you make doing this all the worthwhile. And I don't just say that because it's 2 a.m. But for now, have a good one. Get some sleep, brush your teeth, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Have a good night.